We're going to bring in Champ. Thank you again for the raid. I hope that you're enjoying all of the golf action. I've been loving your videos. You got an albatross, is that right? What it's called? That was wild.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So for those who are not in the know of golf, an albatross is also known as a double eagle. That's making a hole in two on a par five, which is
Insane.
one of the rarest shots you can make in golf. There are very few people. I don't even think Tiger Woods has made an albatross in his career, and he has a Hall of Fame
Mm-mm.
career. And I don't even think he's made an albatross in his career. That's how rare that one is. And somehow I've managed to
Yeah,
make two of them in this game.
I am impressed.
Yes.
My dad plays golf. My brother plays golf. My baby sister plays golf. Played golf. So yeah. So I'm not only a hockey family, I'm also a golf family, and my son plays golf. So
Nice.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
my late husband played golf. So yeah.
Yeah. So definitely go.
Actually, actually,
Follow.
I was about to say I just got done. Well, when I rated out, I was actually playing 18 holes at the Augusta National against Jack Nicklaus, and I rated out
Nice.
as we finished Amen Corner because I wanted to at least get an Amen Corner because Sith likes he follows golf a little bit and knows about Amen Corner, and
Hmm.
I ended up beating Jack Nicklaus by 3 shots.
Nice.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
it
And a
was
few
bogey
birdies.
free. It was bogey free. One eagle and four birdies to his six birdies and three bogeys.
That's so cool that you were able to
Uh-oh.
figure out that you can direct stream from your Xbox right to Twitch. That's really cool.
That
Yeah,
is
it was
very cool.
all I had to do was just plug in my webcam into the Xbox and I have the camera there and it just shows the gameplay. I can control the volume and everything like that. So it's really cool. But what I want to do is get a capture card. That way I can like stream it off of like something like OBS or something like that. So I can have like sound alerts and things like that. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I definitely think you want to have a desktop PC for that though, just because it's going to take
Yeah.
processing. So I actually have a
I have
cap.
I have I have zero idea what you guys are talking about.
So
So
basically, the
I'm
idea
just
is
kind of nodding and
yes, on a computer, you can have like a card that you plug into it, and then you literally plug the system into that, and then you put it on the computer, and you can have
ah,
cool graphics and stuff appear on screen with it. So, um,
gotcha.
that's generally what I'm doing right over here. Here, actually, I can show you. So if you look over here, there's the PC right over there that's running.
Okay.
So that one's literally the top screen up there. You can kind of see
Gotcha.
has all like the controls over people going,
Okay.
and then the down below you can see is the live thing. If people are curious, that's the setup. I've got the two games going on over there. So um,
Okay.
and I'll show it for too long for copyright reasons. But like yeah, it's really cool. I definitely am a big fan of OBS. And once you get a computer that can do that, then you can obviously switch up even how you do your normal show and have sound alerts and stuff during that as well. So that would be cool. But yeah, so it's cool that Champ now does more than just wrestling talk on his channel. You can actually get uh,
Nice.
some games now there too. So congratulations for being now a streamer that does many different things. So that's a pretty cool thing for sure. And definitely check out his. What is your TikTok account under? Is it the same thing?
It's at True No Spots Pod.
It's the same. Okay,
Yep,
so
it's the same.
so yeah, so definitely go check that out if you want to see those highlights. And I think you also did you put it also on Instagram as well? I know you put some highlights on
Yeah,
there.
I put a couple of ones on Reels on my Instagram, which is DC's People's Champ. So if you want to check out some of those, they're on there as well.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right, let's talk a little bit of soccer real fast. It was C4's very first game going to it. I'm just gonna get her thoughts first and then I'll get Champ's thoughts as well. But C4, what were your thoughts going to your very first soccer game?
Soccer fans are different. They're very intense. I mean, I thought hockey fans, because we're intense, and then I know I'm intense. I'm into the game. I'm watching every little thing. But soccer fans are a whole different breed. But it was so much fun. It really was. It's like they had the marching band going at the one end, and all the cheers and this, and the action on the field, and
So
like
was it raining when you were there?
it was it wasn't raining. It was more like a heavy mist. But we
Mhm.
were actually kind of undercover where we were sitting, so it wasn't we were actually pretty dry. It was chilly though. I actually ended up pulling out my hands started getting cold, so I actually ended up pulling out my gloves. But it was a lot of fun. I've watched soccer on TV. My sister played soccer. I had my roommate in college played soccer, so I watched soccer games in college, but this was very, very different. Um
So C4, you said that soccer fans are different. The young people would say they're built diffy.
okay.
That's what the young
Oh, is
people
that what they
say.
say they're built diffy? Okay.
Yeah, that's what the young people say.
Nice. So DC United did score the first two goals, both in the first half, but right before the first half was over, I believe Philly did get one back, and then in the 79th minute they were able to tie it up, and it ended up being a
Yeah.
tie 2-2 game. When you guys were up 2-0, were the fans feeling it? Did things change once that goal was scored right before half?
Um, a little bit. They were getting very, very frustrated towards the end. There was a couple of people in front of us that they were speaking Spanish, so I have no idea what they were saying, but you could see they were starting to get frustrated. Philadelphia came out in the second half much stronger than they played in the first half. That much I could tell you. But yeah, they didn't stop cheering their team on either. So,
C4,
and they
if
didn't.
you heard C4, if you heard puta madre, that's not good.
Probably they probably said that if you probably yelling at the refs that because
Yeah.
there were quite a few times that I could again getting frustrated at the officiating. The girl sitting next to me, she was a Union fan, and but she was kind of explaining to her friend what was going on, so I was kind of listening in. But she was getting frustrated with the officiating. Me, I was just watching them kick the ball back and forth and having fun.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. So Philly and DC, if you're looking at the tables, are right now tied at 14. Philadelphia is the tiebreaker right now, just in goal differential. They're a +3 versus DC's a -1. But both have 14, but they're also tied with New York CFC and Charlotte. All four teams have 14 points, and Columbus Crew has 15 points, and the Red Bulls has 17. So remember, a win is 3 points. So one win gets you right back up to a tie with fourth place. So it's all very close right now in the MLS standings. So they just kind of,
Yeah.
getting a tie is a good result just to try to, keep with it. But Champ, what are some of your thoughts on this game?
Right. So I mean, it was a really good game. It was like DC United came out the gate strong with a Kristen that Jorn had a beautiful goal on a crosser
Mm,
in the ninth minute. That was a pretty goal he
mm-hmm.
scored on that one. I mean, absolutely breathtakingly beautiful how good that was. And got the scoring off on the right foot. And then in the 33rd minute, Morel was able to get on the board on a nice one as well. So that was really good to see as well. But then Philly was able to bring it back in the 42nd minute. There were 8 shots by the United. 5 of them were on target, while Philly had 9 shots with only 3 on target. Philly had 52% of possession throughout the game, with a pass accuracy of 79% to DC's 80%, and only 48% of possession throughout the game. There were no red cards in this one, but there were 4 yellow cards between the two teams. But it was basically an evenly matched, even matchup here between the two teams, who are fighting basically for one of the last playoff spots. If the playoffs were to start today, they would be in the hunt for one of the last playoff spots. But really competitive game. And something that DC United definitely needed at this stage. Yes, it's still early in the season. It's a long season, but they definitely needed a match like this. Even though it came out to be a draw, they still got a point out of it. But it could have easily have gone the other way, especially the fact that Philly was able to score 2 unanswered goals to bring it to a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I just want to say thank you, Ryan and CW are lurking, but I really appreciate both of them for being a part of the show tonight. And we'll definitely, as these playoffs keep on going through the rest of this month of May, we'd love to have you both back on to continue to talk playoff basketball and hockey. It's a fun time of year, and I love talking to sports fans from all over the country. So it was great having CW on his very first Sports on the Hill podcast and Ryan back on the show. So I appreciate both of you guys a lot for that. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that they would be in the playoff hunt. I believe they'd actually play Philly for the play-in game. If the playoffs started today, so it's kind of an interesting matchup that C4 then saw. Yeah, it's cool. But I'm happy. What were your thoughts on Audi Field, C4? I've never been, but I've heard good
It
things.
was gorgeous. It was absolutely stunning. Um, the it was it was fairly easy to get around. I mean, the concourse is pretty wide. I mean, think a football stadium, but slightly smaller scale.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, we were like up in the 18th row. I didn't realize how steep those stairs are, though. There's a lot of stairs climbing up.
All right, that's good
But
to know.
yeah, no, it's a beautiful field. It's gorgeous. It's easy to get to. It's like what, 3 or 4 blocks from the Navy Yard Metro, right across from National Stadium. So the location's great. Lots of places to go before and after the game if you wanted to. So I really enjoyed the experience. I'll probably well when it gets warmer, we'll probably go to another game.
Yeah, let me know. Maybe I'll even go to a game. I've always wanted to go to Audi Field. It's
They have a
actually good.
whole big kids zone, I
Oh,
think. So
nice.
they have, yeah, so if you bring the kids, there's stuff for them to do.
That's cool. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about the Frederick Keys, is that we have a lot of fun because it's like a carnival with a side of a baseball game,
Speaking
which is
of the Keys, June 12th, is it June 12th? Is Caps night, I
oh
think. Yeah, Capitals night at the Keys. I think
yeah.
it's June 12th.
Remind me of that. I love, if anyone doesn't know and they live in the area, the Keys are a totally fun team from Frederick. And like on Saturdays you could run the bases with the kids, and then afterwards they have fireworks and then they run the bases. And so it's just a really good time for the kids. Like I mean, if he sits for one inning, that'd be exciting. But like, he's got all these carnival rides and a giant slide, and the carousel overlooks the baseball field, so you can be on the carousel with my 2-year-old daughter while watching the game. It's pretty
Mhm.
wild.
Yeah, I went to a lot more Keys games when they were associated with the
Oh, they were
Orioles than I've been to recently. Well, they're not anymore, but they
right.
were.
I know they were. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, actually my husband used to play golf with the general manager back then, um,
Um,
when they were still.
well, I'm gonna use this as a segue because
So
we're
I'm
gonna.
sorry, I didn't mean to get
No,
off the
you're good.
soccer.
No, yeah, no, this is good. But I'm going to talk about the Defenders next because they're also play at Audi Field. But I definitely want to go catch a game, whether it be a Defenders game
Yeah,
or a DC United game. But C4, we should definitely catch up. Maybe either go to a baseball game or a soccer game or something fun, real soon.
absolutely, absolutely.
Sounds good. Well,
Uh,
thank you so much for the Hershey Bears update and
you're
for
welcome. Thanks for
exciting
having me.
update. And we'll definitely have you back on next week to talk a little bit more hockey playoffs.
Sounds good. Champ, nice to meet you. Enjoy that cigar for me, man. I always enjoy a good cigar.
All right, C4. That's what I knew there was a reason I liked you. I knew there was a
Right.
See,
reason.
there we
I
go.
don't see. It's funny because I don't even remember that you guys have never been in a segment together, but that would obviously make sense. But very cool to have you both on a segment together, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks. Bye.
All right. So we're gonna use the Audi Field as our segue, champ, and I'm
Yes.
gonna put up the graphics real fast to the XFL, even though we're really UFL now, but I never updated the thing. So yeah, it's the defenders really needed this win. Oops, I typed in. I thought I
Needed this win is an understatement. They had to have this win.
yeah, it's because there's a statistic because it's a 10-week season, and if you can't get to 3-3 before the end of week 6, you almost have zero chance of making the playoffs. The numbers drop from 50-50 shot to like a less than 30% chance of making it. So
Yeah.
it's, there's a chance, but it's pretty, and like the team we're trying to catch is this Brahmas team. So like you need to beat that team, and you're gonna need to unfortunately beat get revenge in a couple of weeks against the Battlehawks, obviously, because you're trying to gun for those positions, because unfortunately the top team in the division's only lost one game, right? So you're gonna have to jump some teams here to make it. But Champ, I actually have the stats up on here. But it was kind of a slow going game at first, 0-0. Defenders did outscore them 6-3 in the second. The Brahmas outscored them 6-3 in the third, and then the defenders outscored them 9-3 in the fourth quarter. But it was a close back and forth game. I thought that uh, Jordan played a great game at quarterback. Played within himself. Didn't do anything too flashy, but had a pretty good rating overall. No interceptions, which is always important. Holding onto the ball, especially in a one possession game like this. But what were some of your thoughts on this big UFL game?
First and foremost, Kelvin Harmon is him.
Mm-hmm.
He is him. Kelvin Harmon was the catalyst for this victory. He had 8 catches on 12 targets, 101 yards, and the game-winning touchdown that came late in the fourth quarter, where he caught it between 2 defenders in the end zone to give them the lead. And I thought that's why I was like that he is him, because that was an amazing catch that he made. Teamu was able to be mistake free this one. The last couple games he's had way too many mistakes, but this time he was able to protect the ball. Only went 14 to 22 for 179 yards with a touchdown. The running game was pretty solid. Total of 115 yards total for the team. 294 total yards of offense for them against the 267 for the Brahmas. They were able to keep them in check on the passing game with only 67 yards total as a team. Dormady only had 79 yards passing with a touchdown. He did throw an interception as well, but the run game was what kept them in it. John Lovett was their leading rusher. He had 153 yards rushing on 23 attempts, 6.7 average. So he was that was the thing was trying to stop the run. They weren't able to do so, but at the end of the day, they were able to get it when it counted, and they were able to get a much needed win over a team that they're actually chasing for that second spot in the playoffs. So big win, a revenge win after the loss they had to them 2 weeks ago, and so good on them, and they were able to get another win at Audi Field. Now they sit with only one loss at Audi Field in their history, and it was a big one.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to kind of win all of the remaining games, in my opinion, if they want to do this. I think if they can somehow get to 7-3, they have a good shot of making the playoffs. But they may have to run the table here, champ. Do you think that they could do it?
I mean, anything's possible. They say any given Saturday or any given Sunday, anything is possible. But yeah, they do have to run the table with the Battlehawks being 5-1 and the Brahmas being 4-2. They definitely do need to run. They do need to most definitely run the table if they want to have a chance to get into the top 2 at this point. I mean, the schedule is somewhat favorable. I mean, I would say it's somewhat favorable because they have the Panthers next, who just had a tough game, which played actually before our game, and then they have the Battlehawks in Seattle, in St. Louis, which that's going to be a tough one right there. We know how rowdy St. Louis can get. And then they got Memphis in Memphis. We've never seen Memphis before. We don't know what they're capable of, but they finished the season against a very team that they faced in the XFL championship last season in the Renegades. So they're bookending their season. They're almost bookending their season. Well, not really bookending. They've already beat the Renegades once before in Arlington, but then they're coming to our house to end the season. So they're definitely going to have to put themselves in a situation where when they play Arlington, who they've beaten already, they need to be in a position where they're either already in and a loss won't take them out of it, or be in a position where it's a team they beat and they can beat them again. So that's where they are right now. But we can't worry about the end of the season. We have to worry about next week and Michigan.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting down the stretch, but we'll definitely document their next 4 weeks, or at least as far as I can. I'm still trying to debate whether I'm going to do a show on Memorial Day or not. But I might come back the week after and do one more show. Because usually we do end sort of the beginning of June. I'm kind of keeping an eye on these playoffs and how many more weeks we're going to go. I would love to do a stream in June where I get to actually interview Katie and talk about her album because we did interview her before it came out. I'd like to do an interview stream that wouldn't be a sports stream, but also bring Dan Tremblay on for that. So that's one of the things that I was planning going forward. And then I also talked a little bit earlier about wanting to do some Olympic streams in the middle of the summer because I know that we have fans from all over the world on this podcast, especially on Twitch. And so different people love different sports, and I'd love to bring people back on. And so that, thank you, Bert the Wayfarer. Congrats on 3 years, Robbie and Friends. I really appreciate it. Bert's actually from the DMV, I believe, and actually does like IRL streams and is a big foodie. So maybe someday we'll go IRL and eat a sandwich or something together. Yeah, Olympics Vive la France. So yeah, it'll be I'll be traveling some parts of July. It'll be complicated. I don't know if I'll be able to do a stream every Monday around the Olympics, but I definitely want to do at least one, if not two, around that time. And because Olympics are always fun to cover. Champ, you watched the Summer Olympics, right?
I haven't watched the Summer Olympics. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't watched the Summer Olympics since '96.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm intrigued about the Summer Olympics mostly because not well for one with wrestling because of the fact that I'm pretty sure that WWE is going to be looking at whoever comes out of the the Summer Olympics, which Summer Olympics wrestling competition, and possibly sign into a next in line deal and things like that. I think there's someone who has qualified for the Olympics who has signed an NIL deal with WWE and stuff like that. And so I want to keep an eye on that individual to see how they do in the Olympics and stuff like that. But other than that, and also want to see what the men's basketball team is going to do when they have like bona fide stars that are playing in this year instead of unknown scrubs. So I'll be interested to see how they do with this team.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot to cover with that. Um, I do want to talk a little bit, just give a quick little Nats update. So I'm going to put up my MLB graphic real quick. Switched over my XFL one. And yeah, so I've been pretty impressed actually with both the Orioles and the Nationals. And in fact, tomorrow they play each other. So it's kind of a pretty good segue. But last week, they started their series against Texas. We left off when they swept Miami in 4 consecutive games. And then they went to Texas. They lost their first game 7-1. Was able to win the next one 1-0, but unfortunately lost the rubber match 6-0. Then they went to Toronto, but in that series it was the opposite. They won the first one 9-3, lost 6-3, and then won the last game in an exciting fashion, an 11-8 game with Washington coming back and scoring 4 of those 11 runs in the last in the sixth, seventh, and eighth, and then they didn't have to obviously go up to bat in the ninth. So it was a good comeback. Toronto started off early up in that game, up 6-1 in the third, but a 5-run fourth for Washington kind of stem that a little bit. And yeah, they have a 2-game series against Baltimore, and Baltimore's stats from the last week was they had a series against the Yankees. And they won 2-0, then they won 4-2 in game two, then they lost 2-0 in game three, but they were able to salvage the series and win 3 out of 4 and a 7-2 win over the Yankees. And then they were able to steamroll and take that into the Cincinnati series in Cincinnati, win 3-0, 2-1, and then 11-1 on Sunday. They had the day off today, and then they play a 2-game series in Washington, both at 6:45 on Tuesday and Wednesday this week. And then they'll actually play Arizona on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the Nationals, their weekend series will be at Boston on Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 7:10, 4:10, and 1:35. So Boston has been the Orioles have been starting this season well. They're 23-11. And I think that they are tied or at the top of their division. Oh, let me see. Yeah, they're at the top of the division. Both teams have 23 wins, both them and the Yankees, but they have 2 less losses because they play 2 less games. So yeah, Baltimore is doing well, and on the on the Nationals side, they've been doing pretty well. Sort of surprising people. I think that they were at 500. Hold on, I just went away from it. But yeah, so they are. Yeah, they are at 500, 17 and 17 in theirs. So not bad. Some people thought they may have a step back. Some people thought that they would have a really good season. So it's been interesting to see how they've done. They find themselves in the middle of the NL East at 17-17. The Mets are 17-18 right behind them. Miami's 10-26, but above them is Atlanta, who's 20-12, and Philadelphia 25-11. Philadelphia has won 9 out of their last 10 games. So that's a little bit of your Nats update. I am going to do a no spots update now. I know Champ had to take the week off. So you didn't do a live react, but let people know what's going to come up on your next show.
Well, so basically, this weekend is going to be the start of New Japan's annual tournament showcasing the best junior heavyweights in the world. It's the best of the Super Juniors tournament, and that is getting ready to take place. The opening night will be on Saturday, but this Thursday, myself and Sage will be beginning our coverage of the tournament to see who will get a chance to take a shot at the junior heavyweight championship. In this year's tournament, for the first time, the finals will take place not on its own night, but it'll take place on Dominion in Osaka-jo Hall, which is one of the big events on New Japan's calendar. So that's a big deal for New Japan to actually have that tournament have its final on one of its major shows. So a really big deal to speak of. Also, yeah, we didn't do live reactions to Backlash, but if you have Peacock, I would suggest going to watch Backlash, not just because of the wrestling and how good the wrestling was, but that crowd in France were absolutely lit. Like, I've heard some crowd reactions and things like that watching wrestling, whether it be here in the United States or overseas. But that crowd in France showed up and showed out. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad we didn't do a live reactions, because normally when we do live reactions, I have my volume down pretty low where I can still kind of hear it on my end, but you can't hear it on stream. But just feeling just being able to hear it in full volume and just feel the energy of that crowd was just absolutely amazing. And then the wrestling itself was actually really, really good. There were no new champions were crowned, which doesn't surprise me. It's the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania, so I wasn't expecting a lot of title change. Well, no, there was one title change. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair became the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They become only the second African American women's tag team to become women's tag team champions behind Naomi and Sasha Banks. So a really historic moment for them, and for them to do it in France in front of such a live and rowdy crowd was absolutely awesome. And so really well done. I can't wait to see what the fallout is on Raw tonight. I've already recorded it, so I'll be watching that tomorrow during my meeting in the morning. But it's right now it's like really been really a good time for wrestling. TNA also had an event this weekend. It was Under Siege. Really good event. And I mean, it's really great time to be a wrestling fan, honestly.
So Heretic Ninja said that crowd was so lit that they got a noise complaint.
Yeah, there was a legit noise ordinance because of how loud it was, and this was on Friday for SmackDown. This wasn't even for the pay-per-view. This was for SmackDown.
Wow.
Okay, so that's how lit that crowd had been the entire 2 days they were in France. That they had a noise ordinance on a Friday for SmackDown, and the crowd for SmackDown was absolutely like amazing. Both nights the crowd were just amazing.
That's wild that you can have like a crowd ordinance for like a stadium, right? I know I didn't even like I see they have concerts there. That's crazy. So like that's wild. But yeah. I want to give a quick little scoring update. We're right now at the end of the third quarter here. Minnesota's up 82 to 58 here. With a three coming that was missed. 8 seconds pass forward to dunk makes it 82 to 60. So they got within 22 with 6 seconds left of the third quarter. And they drive in, up, and no good. So that'll be the score going into the fourth quarter. But wow, I can't believe the Timberwolves go up, by 22 going into the fourth quarter in Denver. They have a chance to go up 2-0 in this series, in a series that almost everyone picked the Nuggets. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting night for sure. But yeah, Champ, I really appreciate you taking the time, breaking it all down, coming in on hour three. It's been fun being on this Twitch ride with you. I think we started right around the same time. I was telling you about how much I loved it over here, and and I'm happy that you made the switch as well. Both of us do, and we still do stuff on Facebook as well, but I really appreciate all the support that happens on this side, for sure. But Champ, anything else you want to let people know before we go on a raid tonight?
Yeah. So again, just keep your eye on wrestling. With seeing places like AEW, despite a lot of the controversies they've had recently, they're still doing really good stuff, wrestling wise. And WWE, they've definitely entered into a new era, and it's just great to watch. So I say this every week at the end of the podcast. It's like, if you're not a wrestling fan, now is the time to become one, because you're getting probably the absolute best out of professional wrestling that you'll ever get. And this is coming from somebody who's been watching professional wrestling since I was 9, and I'm 41. So, and you're getting the best possible professional wrestling that you could ask for. So, invest in getting on Peacock, or even if you want to check out something different like New Japan. New Japan subscription is like, I think, $10 a month, and you get to not only see recent shows, but I believe they have I don't know how far their archives go back, because they just revamped their streaming service. So I don't know how far back the archives go, but you can go back and watch a lot of the Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff like that. Wrestle Kingdom is New Japan's version of WrestleMania. You can go back and watch like some of the classic matchups, like Okada versus Kenny Omega, which to this day is still considered one of the greatest professional wrestling matches of all time. Uh, uh, and stuff like that. So that's something to think about, to check out as well. So like I said, if you're not a wrestling fan, now's a good time to watch it and become a wrestling fan. And if you want to get more education on wrestling, make sure you check out the No Spots podcast every Sunday uh, during the football off season at 6 p.m. on Twitch, during the football season at 7. But make sure you check us out. We stream it live on twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod. And we also have audio versions that go up on Spotify and Amazon Music the very next day. So make sure you check all that out. We've been doing this for 6 seasons, and it's a lot of fun. So make sure you check us out, and you can check out the podcast partners button to check out all of the archived episodes as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's all on sportsothp.com. We'll definitely I need to do some updates on our website over the summer, but definitely check out like the socials button. You can get all of our YouTube videos and Instagram accounts, and the Team Sports OTHP has all the links to all the social medias as well. I don't have your TikTok yet, but I need to put that this summer as well. But definitely go check out Champ's TikTok, the same thing. True No Spots Pod, if you want to catch more golf highlights as well, and it's cool that he's now streaming that on his Twitch channel as well, so definitely go give that a follow. With that, I am going to end the audio podcast and the Facebook live stream, but thank you everyone over at Facebook for sticking with us for these 8+ seasons. We're in season 9. This is episode 5 already, which it goes fast. Episode 340 overall. We celebrated 3 years on Twitch. We celebrated the NHL playoffs, the NBA playoffs, and we talked a whole ton of DC sports content as well. Thank you to everyone who's been on this show. From the first hour, having Davey C-Dub, his first time on the show. We'll have to have him back on to talk more NBA playoffs. And Tim, obviously, always being a big part of the show. And in the second hour, getting to have the Caniacs, Ryan and Eddie, join our normal crew of C4 and Gil, and then have C4 tag along into our soccer coverage, and then Champ round us out here. So it's been a great, fun show. Next week, we will talk NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. We'll also talk about the Defenders and DC United, and little baseball updates as well. So similar content to what you saw this week, but it'll only get more crunch time as time goes on here with these playoff series. So will be fun to break down. But thank you everyone for making the subathon a success. I appreciate it. We hit our sub goal, so I appreciate that as well. And thank you again to everyone who contributed today. Eddie who resubbed. We got some raids today. I really appreciate Champ, you for rating, but also Eddie for rating as well. Flat Guy with the resub as well, and then the gifted, and then Firestone Rocks also gave 500 bits as well, which I failed to mention earlier on, but I really appreciate that. It's been a super fun show. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in and being a part of this last 3 years. And we'll be back next week. And so with that, I am going to end our Facebook Live. And definitely check us out next week. And we'll see you soon.
Gokigenyo, sayonara.
All right, so that is good. We're going to stop this recording.
Recording stopped.
Awesome. On that, I'm torn between going to 2 different places. One does wood burning, which is kind of cool. It's a little bit different. And one is a science stream where he's looking at tiny worlds under a microscope, fossils and pond water and more. And he's known for, he's a scientist that studies ants, but he studies all sorts of stuff. He's actually a partner streamer now on Twitch and a friend of mine. So we've never gone to either of them, the science stream or the wood burning stream. And so I'm going to leave it up to chat. Just chat. Do you have a preference one way or another? Does people want to see science, or do they want to see art? Put an S in chat if you want science, A in chat if you want art. And in just about a minute, based on what people choose, we'll go there. And if no one has a preference one way, I'll just pick one of those as well. So, but I wanted to thank everyone for being a part of this. It's been a really exciting 3 years. Bert says science sounds fun. I'm down. I've never rated this channel. It's Science Streams. I'll do a who is real quickly for science. And science by day, science communicators also by day, working on projects to engage and support the communities. So they are also a moderator alongside me over at the Stream Scribe, who I really like. So yeah, why don't we give Science Streams a raid real quick? But I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. It was a very popular show all night long. Thank you to all the lurkers. I see all of you guys. I really appreciate everyone for lurking and being a part of it as well. And yeah, it should be a really fun next couple of weeks, and then we'll take a little bit of a summer break, but we'll come back for the Olympics, and then we'll take a little more of a break, and then we'll be back for football in no time. And yeah, stay tuned to all of our social media channels. I know that Carol's got a lot of plans coming. He's got season tickets. He's got different meetings with lots of different people. So definitely check out our Facebook as well. If you don't, again, all of our social media links are on our website, sportsothp.com. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. I am going to start the raid right now over to Science. And we got a raid call and a sub raid call. So just grab the thing that applies to you. And yeah, it's been just a wild 3 years. I just looking back, all the cool things we've been able to do, whether it be scuba diving videos or making emotes or making logos for Carly and other people, and all the different sports talk that we've had. And I've even gamed on here as well. So it's Pokemon and some other games and Photoshop stuff as well. So it's been a really fun 3 years on being an affiliate, and I love it here on Twitch. And thank you guys again for all the support. With that, grab the raid call. We're gonna raid, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace out.
All right.